everyone, and welcome to my conversation with Joe Foster. This week, I had the privilege to have a conversation with Joe Foster, the founder of Reebok. Joe built Reebok into a world-renowned brand in over the 80s and 90s before exiting the business. At one stage, growing the business from $9 million to $900 million in turnover in a few short years. He found his white space. Joe published the book The Shoemaker to tell his story. It was not widely known outside the industry and people were getting the story wrong. So Joe set the message straight, wrote the book. So now, here's my conversation with Joe Foster, the Shoemaker. Enjoy.
Okay, hi Joe, how are you?
Hi Stephen. Apart from having a cold, I'm fine. But I picked up a cold over the weekend, and it's not the best of things, is it? But there you go. Otherwise, I'm great. How are you?
Very good, very good. Yeah, we've got a bit of a heat wave out here in Australia at the moment, and we're surviving though, which is all good.
Okay, well it'll be cooler at this time of day because you're middle of the night, isn't it, for you?
Yes, midnight. Yeah.
Midnight. So it's your coolest time. Okay.
A lot cooler.
Right.
All right, Joe. Thank you very much for joining me. It's lovely. I've been able to read your book over the last week.
Good, thank you. Hope you enjoyed it.
It was good. It opened my eyes up. And I'm here sitting in the boardroom of a company where we're relaunching a surfwear brand, and a lot of the stuff that was in the book has popped up in what we're doing. So it's quite interesting. And one of the things that popped up is that what you talk about is white space.
Yes.
And with Reebok finding its white space in aerobics seemed to be a masterstroke. And but how did it come about? And how did you know it was the niche?
Well, when we got into America as a running company. But we were only a small running company. We just got in, just making our way. So we were not known like Adidas and Nike as male, sweaty, the usual sort of sports stuff. So we were this small English company without much of a reputation. And our guy down in Los Angeles, Arnold Martinez, his wife is coming home from doing these classes, and she's full of it. And Arnold says, "Frankie, what are you doing?" And she told him aerobics. So he said, "What's that? What's aerobics?" "Well, we're exercising to music." Fantastic. So Arnold went down to see the next class that Frankie was in, and he saw the instructor in a pair of sneakers, half the class in the same sneaker, the other half no shoes at all. And that's when it struck him, why don't we just make a shoe for women's sizes, glove leather, nice and comfortable. And he went up to Boston because our operation was out of Boston, and he went to see the CEO, Paul Fireman. And Paul told him to slow down. Whoa, slow down. We're a running company. But and Arnold is sort of saying, "Oh, this is great." And Paul is saying, "Why do we want to make dancing shoes for girls? We're a running company." And Arnold was not that impressed by that, by Paul's approach to that. So he went round to the back door, had a word with Steve Leggett, who was our product man, and got himself some samples. Now, why do you know that's a white space? I don't think you do to begin with. You see something new, you see something different. So let's give it a shot. And of course, it's when there's something there, it is, I won't say it's much of a gamble, but what it is an opportunity. And, we loved opportunities. And then, of course, when Jane Fonda went out and bought a pair of Reebok aerobic shoes and wore them in her videos, that was it. All of a sudden, it exploded. Right. And from a $9 million company, we went to a $900 million company in 4 years. So
that's phenomenal growth.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. How do you keep up with growth like that?
Well, this was the problem. Initially, it was money. because it needs financing. Something like that growth needs financing, but we got to deal with the sourcing company, and the sourcing company just gave us a credit line.
Okay.
Once we got a credit line, that was it. We didn't need a ton of money. We just needed to get the shoes free. So we got this good credit line. But the biggest problem we had was actually production, because the demand. I mean, our demand had gone from maybe 1,000 pairs a month, or 2,000 pairs a month, maybe a bit more than that. All of a sudden, we're going up to 2 million pairs a month. And yeah, how do you get that? And so that was the biggest. Yeah, that was the biggest problem. But we were lucky, and I guess in life it's good to be lucky. We were lucky because Nike, who've been really motoring very fast, they've been expanding their business incredibly, but they found themselves with too much inventory, and so they had to pull out of about 3 factories just when we needed them. So that's your luck, isn't it? We needed that, and we just moved in, and we managed.
Yeah. And you seem to have had a bit of luck in early on. There's a section in the book here I can remember where you talk about a John Willie Johnson helping you out in the early days. And it's lining yourself up for luck. Like, luck doesn't just, materialize. There's opportunity and placement and having the right people.
Exactly.
And so how would you describe to budding entrepreneurs like myself and others out here that we make sure we've got the right people in the network, like John Willie, that can help out when you need to?
Well, again, those are your strokes of luck, but it's also the fact that you talk to people, you introduce yourself, you ask questions. Because I was fascinated with John Willie at that time. At that time, the whole of the shoe industry was moving to the east. You could produce them out of South Korea. You could produce a product for less than half the price. The result of that was that the small shoe factories in the UK were just closing down. They were just closing. So every month, at least one a month, there would be an auction of all the materials at this factory. And I went along there. We didn't have a lot of money, but we could probably buy a sewing machine, or we could buy some materials. And John Willie sat at the front, and he never bid for anything. Just never bid for anything. But in an auction, when something passes and nobody buys it, the auctioneer just used to look at John Willie, and John Willie would nod, and that was it. So he just took everything that hadn't been sold. He just took everything, and this fascinated me because I mean the stuff. The rubbish, well, I would call it rubbish, all things, even stuffed birds and stuffed crocodiles that were in the offices and things like that, everything, and he would just take it. So his factory was about 15 miles away from our factory up in Rossendale Valley. So I sat next to him on my next occasion and said, what do you do with all this stuff? And we had a good chat. And he said, we're talking about how the last time I'd come down, I'd overloaded my van and got stopped by the police because I was overloaded. And so he said, look, Joe, why don't we come down to these sales together? And you don't need to take anything. My men, when we finish, my men will come, they fill up the wagon and put it all on a wagon, and we'll drop whatever you buy, we'll drop off at your factory. Oh, I said, that sounds all right. So next time I drove up to his factory and parked my car and said, what do you do with all this stuff? So he took me across to his big warehouse, and it was absolutely full of everything. Everything. Small nails, they call them, tingles, things they use in shoemaking, all the bits and pieces. And I did spot a machine. I said, John, we could do with a machine like that. Can I buy it off you? And he said, no. Oh, okay. I said, can I rent it? He said, no. He said, you can have it, and when you've done with it, give it me back. Now, you don't meet many people in life like that, do you?
No, not at all.
No. And he did that with many bits of machines. We got so friendly. I'm sure he used to buy machines and stick them in his warehouse, and then he would call me and say, "Joe, I've got this machine. Is it any use to you?" And he knew very well I needed a press, or I needed this. I said, "Yeah," and and the guy, he would get his men to bring it down to our factory and get his men, and they would put it on our production line, wire it up, the whole thing. We didn't have to touch it. And
Okay.
but he was a bit of a father figure. He was somebody I could have a word with if we needed materials or were doing something which was a bit different. He even found us a factory when we were moving from ours. He found me a factory. Unfortunately, it was in the wrong place, but he did find us a factory.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is amazing. And so really, it's putting yourself around.
Yeah.
Because
So,
when
yeah,
go
so
on.
would you say he was a bit of a mentor to you for a while there?
Oh, definitely a mentor, yes. He was definitely that way, that if he wanted anything, and he would ask questions, and then he would. Unfortunately, he went a bit senile in his older days, and he said, "You've made a good job of that name I give you, haven't you, Reebok?" He hadn't given us the name, but I didn't sort of correct him.
Correctly
But
right. Yeah.
yeah, but
And
yeah,
yeah,
as an entrepreneur, you just make friends.
yeah, and just get out there. And do you mentor people now with having having had that experience before? And do you have a
We do indeed. We do indeed. We get a lot of people who are willing to pick up a phone and call us, and we'll have a chat. And if we can do it, we will help them.
yeah
We must have almost a dozen at the moment that we're just helping and maneuvering with them. And the world has changed. I mean, we have these now computers, we have Zoom,
yeah
we have smartphones. All during my time at Reebok, even when I stepped back in 1990, we still didn't have computers. We still didn't have smartphones.
yeah
So it was a different world. And if I wanted to get into America, I had one shot in the year to go to the NSGA show.
yep
And that's why it took me 11 years, because you'd only got one shot and you meet somebody. And if that doesn't work, you have to wait till the next NSGA show. So it's, I mean, now social media and everything, the opportunities are there. And I don't say it's any easier, because, you have to put yourself out. In my day, you had to do a lot of flying, a lot of running about, and not many people wanted to do that.
yeah
Now you don't need as much of that, but you still need to meet people. But like we're doing, we can have a chat, we can talk, and if there's something that I know that you will be useful to you, fine, we can do that, even though you're the other side of the world. And
yeah. It's the same as we're doing now, I suppose. Yeah.
that's right, and it's instant. So it's yeah, it has changed, but I think it's all to do with meeting people, asking questions, and
Being
and
curious.
oh, you've got to be curious. Yes, you've got to be. We went into all sorts of things, such as injection molding and things like that. But and you ask people questions, and they don't have the answer. Sometimes they say, "No, you can't put spikes into a sole if you're going to mold it, because the metal will burn the rubber." And we're just a minute, the molds are metal, so why isn't that? But all sorts of things that
Yeah.
you come up against. But you
Yeah.
do learn an awful lot. You find materials, you find different methods of manufacturing, and it's been good. But now I don't say it's easier, but for me right now, I can travel, so I can meet a lot more people, and
Mm.
that's great. And we meet people all the time.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you for your time. And it's gone so quick. And I look forward to meeting you in person one day and sitting down and having a chat. And thank you very much.
And
And
why not? I think we're probably, maybe in June or maybe in November, we'll be in Australia. So,
excellent. I look forward to
where are
it.
you? Are you in Sydney?
I'm on the Gold Coast,
Oh, right.
in south of Brisbane, but I get to Sydney quite often.
All right. Okay. So yes, why not? Be nice to come up to Brisbane. I've
Yeah,
I've
it's beautiful up
been
here.
there once. Yes. Good luck with your good luck with the business.
Yeah, will do. It's a 1980s brand called Instinct Surf, and
right.
yeah, started by Sean Thompson in the 1980s, and we're relaunching it now. So
Brilliant.
yeah,
Well, good luck with it. Yeah.
excellent. Thanks, Joe.
Okay. Nice to meet you, Stephen.
Lovely
Bye.
to meet you.